Throughout history, humans have built some of the most effective, precise, and devastating weapons ever conceived. And then, sometimes, they built these. What you're about to see are real weapons, actually designed, actually built, actually tested, and in some cases, actually used by real militaries, real governments, and real human beings who apparently looked at these things and said, yes, this is a good idea. Some of them failed spectacularly. Some of them worked, but probably shouldn't have. And at least one of them involved bats. Let's get into it. We'll start with something that sounds like it was invented by a cartoon villain. World War II, Germany. Infantrymen are getting dangerously close to tanks, sneaking right up to them and attacking from blind spots. The German military needed a way for tank crew members to shoot at people attacking them without opening the hatch and getting shot themselves. Their solution? Bend the gun barrel. The Krummlauf, which literally means curved barrel in German, was a real attachment for the Sturmgewehr 44 assault rifle. It featured a 30-degree bend in the barrel and a periscopic sight, so a soldier could theoretically aim around a corner without exposing any part of their body. On paper, genuinely clever. In practice, the attachment could fire approximately 300 rounds before completely breaking down. And that was only if the bullets didn't shatter on exit from the curved barrel, which they frequently did. 300 rounds in a war before your gun breaks. The Krummlauf was quietly retired shortly after, though points for creativity. This one looks like it was designed by someone who couldn't decide which direction they wanted to shoot. The duck's foot pistol, yes, that is its real name, was a pistol with multiple barrels splayed outward like a duck's webbed foot. Pull one trigger and all 4 barrels fired simultaneously, sending bullets in 4 different directions at once. It was designed for ship captains, prison guards, and bank managers who needed to control unruly crowds, the idea being that pointing this thing at a group of people and threatening to fire it would discourage anyone from rushing you. And honestly, it probably worked as a deterrent because it looked absolutely deranged. The problem was accuracy. Firing in 4 directions simultaneously meant you had basically zero control over where any individual bullet actually went. More of a, please don't make me use this weapon than an actual weapon, which, to be fair, might have been the whole point. Now we scale up significantly. World War I. Germany wants to shell Paris. Reasonable war goal. But there's a problem. Paris is over 120 kilometers away from the front line. No existing gun can reach it. Germany's solution? Build the biggest gun that has ever existed. The Paris gun required an entire railway track just to move it. Its barrel was so long it needed a support wire in the middle to stop it bending under its own weight. Here's the wild part. The shells fired from this gun were the first human-made objects to ever reach the stratosphere. 40 kilometers above Earth, before any rocket, before any missile, before any spacecraft. A cannonball got there first. Unfortunately, being the first human-made stratospheric object is not very useful when your actual goal is hitting a city. The Paris gun had such terrible aim, it was used almost entirely as a psychological weapon, just to terrify Parisians with the sound of shells landing, not to actually destroy anything specific. The barrel wore out after just a few dozen shots. Biggest gun ever built. Couldn't reliably hit a city. Most guns shoot bullets that slow down after leaving the barrel. The gyrojet did the opposite. Instead of conventional ammunition, the gyrojet fired tiny 13mm rockets, projectiles that actually accelerated after leaving the barrel, picking up speed as they flew. In theory, this meant incredible penetrating power at range. In practice, there was one catastrophic flaw nobody had fully thought through. The rockets needed about 30 feet of travel time before they reached effective speed. Meaning, if someone was standing directly in front of you, the gyrojet would barely hurt them. You were safer the closer you were to someone with a gyrojet than you were standing further away. The gyrojet sold around 2,000 units before the company quietly closed in 1975. Today, those original gyrojets are valuable collector's items. The unfired ammunition sells for a significant amount at auction. We need to take a quick break from military hardware to talk about the most terrifying cosmetic product ever manufactured. During the Cold War, the Soviet KGB, their intelligence and secret police agency, developed a single-shot pistol disguised as a tube of lipstick. They called it the Kiss of Death. One bullet, hidden in a lipstick case, designed for close-range assassination by agents who needed to conceal a weapon where nobody would look for one. And the truly unsettling part? It wasn't just a concept, it was real. It was used. The original Kiss of Death is preserved and on display, a reminder that during the Cold War, both sides were competing not just in missiles and tanks, but in the art of hiding weapons in increasingly unexpected places. Genuinely one of the most disturbing objects in weapons history. Also, undeniably, kind of impressive. Now here is possibly the most unhinged design decision in the entire history of weapons. In 1718, a British inventor named James Puckle creates one of the earliest machine guns, a tripod-mounted, hand-cranked weapon that could fire multiple rounds in sequence, revolutionary for its time. But then comes the ammunition. The Puckle gun came with two different ammunition cylinders. One fired round bullets, one fired square bullets. The round bullets were for use against Christian enemies. The square bullets were for use against Muslim enemies because, and this is a direct quote from the patent, they would cause more pain. This was a real patent, filed officially in 1718. The gun never worked properly due to mechanical issues, never saw widespread use, and was largely forgotten by history. But the reasoning behind those two ammunition choices lives on as perhaps the single most bewildering product decision ever committed to an official document. If the Puckle gun is the most unhinged, the FP-45 Liberator is probably the most desperate weapon ever made. World War II, Nazi-occupied Europe. Resistance fighters need weapons, but getting proper firearms to them is nearly impossible. America's solution? Build the cheapest, crudest gun imaginable, produce millions of them, and drop them from planes. The FP-45 Liberator cost approximately $2 to manufacture. It was made of stamped sheet metal, had no rifling in the barrel, could only fire a single shot, and had to be reloaded using a stick to push the spent casing out by hand. It came with a small illustrated instruction card, because the people receiving it might not speak English, showing them how to use it in 5 simple pictures. The idea wasn't to win firefights, it was to get close enough to an enemy soldier to fire one shot, then take their real weapon. Over 1 million were produced. They were airdropped across occupied France, the Philippines, and elsewhere. Crude, cheap, and completely insane. Also, genuinely one of the most clever resistance weapons ever conceived. Finally, we save the best for last. In 1942, the United States is at war with Japan. A dental surgeon named Lytle Adams, yes, a dentist, sends a proposal to the White House suggesting a new kind of weapon. His idea? Fill bomb casings with Mexican free-tailed bats, each one carrying a tiny incendiary device, then drop the bombs over Japanese cities at dawn. The bats would naturally roost in the wooden buildings that made up most Japanese cities. At a preset time, thousands of tiny fires would simultaneously ignite across an entire city, far more widespread destruction than a conventional bomb. The White House greenlit this. The US military spent $2 million developing it, and in testing, it actually worked. A mock Japanese village built for the test was burned to the ground. The bat bomb was canceled only because the Manhattan Project, the atomic bomb, was progressing faster and promised more decisive results. America genuinely came within a decision of winning World War II with bats. 8 weapons, all real, all actually built or seriously proposed by actual governments and militaries. A gun that shot around corners but broke after 300 rounds. A pistol that fired in 4 directions and hit nothing. the biggest gun ever built that couldn't reliably hit a city, a rocket gun useless at close range, a lipstick assassination tool, a machine gun with different bullets based on religion, a $2 disposable pistol dropped from planes, and a bomb full of bats that actually worked. History is full of brilliant ideas that failed ideas that somehow worked, and ideas so strange you genuinely cannot believe someone got paid to think of them. These were all three at once. If you made it to the bat bomb and your mind isn't at least a little blown, I don't know what to tell you. Hit that like button, subscribe to Dr. Humanil if you're not already, and come back for the next one, because trust me, humans have done far stranger things than this. And